Criminal and national security screenings on individuals. The process includes checking names against a terrorist screening data set. It's an FBI system that tracks known or suspected terrorists as well as their affiliates. Border Patrol officials say that between October 2022 to September 30th of this year, 151 migrants with positive terrorism watch list matches were arrested after crossing into the U.S. illegally along the southern border. The figures show that in fiscal year 2023, CBP agents arrested a total of 154 non-citizens on the government's terrorist screening watch list. 151 of those individuals were arrested along the southern border. Now, the numbers are up from 98 in the last fiscal year, and they represent a small fraction of all migrants processed at ports of entry. However, migrant advocates...
Welcome to The Revealing. I'm your host, Pavarotti. Today, bringing you information on what we need to watch out for as Americans, because it's about to come down. I feel it's my civic duty and responsibility to help those of you out there who haven't had your eyes open to be prepared for what is about to come. It is blatantly obvious what is going to happen in our country here in the next few months. And they're putting it out there for everyone to see. I feel it's my duty, for those of you that haven't seen it yet, to open your eyes so that you can be prepared when this thing comes down. Now, I want you to watch a couple of videos that's going to set the stage for what I'm discussing with you today. Wake up, America.
The FBI is searching for today.
Yes.
Yes or no? Yes. Secretary Mayorkas, is there a policy at DHS that requires CBP or any other agency involved with the vetting of individuals who match the terror watch list that requires these individuals to be detained? Does DHS have a policy of detainment for anybody who matches the terror watch list?
Congressman, on September 30th of 2021, I promulgated a policy that articulated quite clearly and quite expressly that individuals who pose a threat to the public safety...
Is there a policy at DHS and CBP that requires detainment of people who match the terror watch list? It's very simple.
That individuals who pose a threat to public safety or national security are a priority for enforcement. And if, in fact...
Is every person that you have listed on the terror watch list detained right now?
And if, in fact, they pose such a threat, they are to be detained.
Okay, so why did you release people in the United States?
And there's a 100% chance that there will be a major terrorist attack in the United States, or many attacks maybe. And it's all because of what's happening.
There are already hundreds, at least hundreds, that our government knows about, that's telling us about, of individuals in our country somewhere that does not have our best interest at heart. Now, folks, I want you to think about it. You watch the news. You see what's going on right now. We are currently bombing strategic targets in the Middle East. That's the same things we were doing prior to 2001, September. I believe it's referred to as 9/11. That is the same thing that we were doing back then when we were hit, and we were hit as a response to that. Now, a conspiracy-minded individual would say that that response was intentional. We intentionally provoked that response so that we could implement, as a government, certain rules against the citizens. We could go against the Constitution with a little thing called the Patriot Act. And that has been in effect since then. So I would not put it past our own government to provoke things such as this and cause actual harm to its citizens based on political strategies and strategies by the deep state to be able to implement more controls. As if we don't have enough laws, there's plenty more that they would love to implement on us. But the reason I'm bringing this up today is because this situation is not dangerous as far as big city buildings, people getting planes and committing attacks that way. No, this one is much more sinister the way it is going to go down. And it's a scary proposition, but it's something that we all need to be prepared for. I want you to watch this next video, and then I'm going to lay out how this is going to take place.
Again, going back to 9/11, I think obviously there were professionals in the counterterrorism community focused on this, but it was a relatively small number. Israelis, of course, knew of the Hamas threat. It wasn't like they didn't know that right next door to them there was Gaza was run by an organization very hostile to Israel. An Israeli friend of mine said it's kind of a mix of 9/11 and the Tet Offensive, where it was not just a general shock in terms of the scale of the attack, but also we thought we knew the capabilities of this group, and we simply did not.
Terrorists like things that work. And things that work are things they've done before. Why do they keep
Smart
going?
enough, you will know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're gonna know who I am. Very easy.
Wow, very easy. The entitlement.
No, believe me, I'm much better than that.
The entitlement, guys. Wow.
On October 7th, over in Israel, their enemies to the south committed an attack. Now, that attack was not typical. What they did was boots on the ground. They ran through holes in the fence in the border. They flew hang gliders and paragliders over the fence. They attacked individuals at a music festival. These are normal, everyday citizens. Attacked them at a music festival. Then they went into the rural neighborhoods and attacked individuals in their homes. Now, they had the benefit of sharing a border with them, so their other objective was to basically kidnap individuals and use them as negotiating tools, as hostages. Unfortunately, here in America, we're not bordering their country. When this goes down, their objective is not going to be to take hostages. Their objective is going to be to eliminate citizens. And as many as they can eliminate, the better. Not the better for us, the better for their point that they're trying to make. And for those of you out there who think, well, that's why we have that Patriot Act. That's why we have all these government organizations to keep us safe from situations such as this. They'll keep us safe from this one. Well, let me tell you a little bedtime story, okay? Because these individuals, they don't come from the same type of society that we come from. How many of us out here could really get along without our cell phones? Probably not many. It would be difficult. These guys don't need cell phones. These guys come from the desert. They ride camels. So you have to think like they do. So imagine this scenario. There's 250 of them here. They received orders to meet in a big field somewhere. None of them have cell phones on them or any type of electronic device. They're all over here for a mission. They meet in this field and they're given instructions from their leadership. They're given arms. They're all given a note. On that note is an address and a date and a time. And that's all that they need to be given. All they have to do is be at the correct address on their note on a specific date at a specific time. 250 individuals could canvass neighborhoods with specified designed addresses to be in front of those homes on a specific date at a specific time. Probably in a more rural area so that escape is a possibility for them. But on that specific date, at that specific time, they will kick in the doors, just like what happened on October 7th in Israel. They will kick in the doors and they will eliminate anyone in those homes, men, women, and children, as part of this event. And that will be enough to cause a national emergency. So folks, you need to be prepared for this. Have a contingency plan. If somebody comes to kick your door in, they're not there to take you as a hostage. You need to know this. You need to be able to be ready to fight for your life and for your family's life. But why is this going to happen now? Why wouldn't it happen further down the road in the future? Well, I can tell you it's not going to. This is going to happen between May and June of this year. And here's why.
And as a way of distracting the American people, and certainly Donald Trump during his first term as President of the United States, it was the R word over and over again.
New fallout tonight in the Russia investigation.
Russians.
Well done to Hannity's team for pulling that one together. Well, of course, the Russia probe, in the end, was an independent counsel by the name of Robert Mueller. No collusion. Before that, of course, there was Jim Comey, who was the boss of the FBI, who was pushing all of this along. Why? Because they were relying upon a dossier that was done by a bloke called Christopher Steele, all of which was paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign, all of which was garbage. Well,
impeachment is an unusual thing in general, and now we have Trump being impeached for a second time, which will make him the first president to be impeached twice. And more significantly, he's the first president in U.S. history to face a Senate trial after leaving office. And so that's triggered a lot of constitutional debate about whether we can even have this.
Only the third U.S. president to be impeached. The Democrat-controlled House of Representatives last night approved 2 charges, setting up a trial next month in the Senate. The Senate is dominated by Republicans, so the president is almost certain to remain in office. Mr. Trump denies abusing his power and obstructing Congress and says the process is a witch hunt. Our North America editor, John Sopel, has...
Former President Donald Trump has now been charged with crimes in 4 separate cases. He's the first former American president to be indicted in the country's history. Now, Trump's pleaded not guilty to all 91 charges against him. So let's break down what charges he faces and for what crimes. First, there's the hush money case in New York. Trump is charged with falsifying business records in that case.
Now, folks, I'm not political, but I'm not an idiot either. There is no way that they're going to allow that man to become the president of the United States again. Back in 2020, when we had that super flu and they locked everybody down and they changed the way our election system worked from in-person voting to mass mail-in ballots, they were able to elect the individual that they wanted. This time they know that that's not going to be a possibility the way things stand now. Nobody wants to vote for him, and they know this. So they need an event so that they can enact martial law. They can impose those same rules they had back in 2020. This is the election year, folks. Be ready. They're looking for a way to eliminate that possibility. And as sinister as it sounds, you may not like that guy, but they really don't like him. And they're willing to take measures that they haven't taken in a long time to ensure this. So be ready, because between May and June of this year, this is going to take place. Martial law will be enacted so that they can subvert this next you-know-what. Now, these are my opinions. I can't say that they're facts. You decide for yourself, but I highly suggest that you be ready, folks. Pavarotti out.